Okay, good afternoon, morning or evening, that usual saying. So, just wanted to very spend about 5-10 minutes, if that's okay, just to outline a few things. There seems to be a bit of confusion with some things, and I think it's because we've all been stuck in lockdown, if I'm honest with you, and stuck behind computer screens and things like that. So it's one of them things. So, first thing that I needed to just go through is just clarify these questions really, because I'm getting a few questions about the questions, weirdly to say, and that's fine, it's not a problem. So, just so we're clear then, any exam you've done so far and you've scored between 50 and 59%, I can ask you questions about. Okay, and I'll explain what these questions are in a minute. When you're taking exams, as you know, at the minute, again, so most of us are all back in doing exams, if you score between 50 and 59%, I can ask you questions. So every exam, if you get over 50, I can ask questions. If you've already passed up over 60, it's done, isn't it? It's finished. If obviously you take an exam still now and you're getting over 60, great, that's that complete and out of the way, job done. The questions that people are worried about is what kind of questions I'm going to ask and how I'm going to do it. So let me. I just wanted to explain really what I'm doing, so you're aware of it. First of all, it's nothing to worry about. So I don't want you panicking about it, because you don't need to panic about it. It's fine. When you get your score sheet, I get your score sheet, and I've got them all for everybody. So anybody that's got between 50 and 59%, I've got it. Okay. If it's 60 or above, obviously I haven't. I can retrieve them if I want to, but I don't need to look at them. What I'm going to have to do is to look at the areas where you've not scored 100% on your score sheet. So you have columns, don't you, as you very well know. It says 150, 33.3 or whatever it may be, or 0. I have to look into those areas, find out what you scored low on, and then look at the criteria, and then I've got to base some questions around that criteria to get you up to 60%. That's it. So for example, if you got 57%, I might be asking you 3 questions for that exam to get you to 60 and job done. The way I'm going to do it is I'll do it over the phone, and I'll ring you up. I'll obviously give you pre-warning. I'm not just going to randomly ring you while you're in the middle of doing something, but I'll give you pre-warning that I'm going to do it. And then what we'll do it on the last week of July. And for example, if Joe Bloggs, whoever he is, but if Joe Bloggs has cold water, hot water, sanitation and science to do, I'm going to spend the time on the phone and do all of those units in one go and get all of them wrapped up in one go. Otherwise, if I do it unit by unit, I'm going to be there a very long time, and if I do it week by week, I'm not going to get it done. Because as you know, today's a Friday. I've been doing some teaching this morning for new students next year, then I've had to have something to eat, and then I've shot off into college to make sure everyone's in for their exam, which you have done, so that's sound. And then I've had to come all the way back home and then to restart working again, which left me about 2 hours. So you can see my days are getting carved up a little bit if I'm not careful. Okay, so it's probably impossible that I can physically do it in that amount of time when I get back. Okay, it's the amount of resetting up I have to do in the office and those kind of things as well. And obviously checking any emails and any inquiries that come through. I'm dealing with all inquiries at the minute as well. So and doing interviews, I must have done about 50 odd now. So I'm trying to juggle my time as best as I can, but that's what happens with those questions. Those questions I don't want you to worry about, and those questions I don't want you to panic about, because we will sort it between us, okay? So you'll be fine. As long as you're scoring over 50, happy days, and that's the way just to take it, alright? So that's what it is. Second thing that I do need though, and I've not had a big response to this, and I'm getting concerned, and I will be a bit more concerned probably by Wednesday next week if I'm honest with you. I've sent out a professional discussion document. I've had some people say they haven't got it. I look quizzical at the minute because I know full well I've sent it out, and I know full well I've sent it to email addresses, and I know full well those email addresses are active because people have already emailed me back with those kind of things anyway. So I'm a bit confused by that in some respects. I have resent it to people. Don't mind resending it. That's not a problem, but it just worries me, the fact that people know they should have had it, and if I'm going to be honest, if I wait for an email, we all get certain emails we wait for, don't we? Whatever it may be, whether it's, something you've ordered or whatever it may be, or you're waiting for the National Lottery one to tell you you're a millionaire and you can just not bother with any of it anymore. That would be lovely, wouldn't it? That would be perfect. But we all wait for certain emails to come through or certain information. If you knew something were coming, you'd be checking. And if it hasn't arrived, then you'd be asking the person, oh, my email's not arrived, can you just check it please? And I've had some people do that, so that's logical. And some people haven't, and then just said they don't have it, and that's the bit that I don't understand. Why would you leave it if you knew it was coming out and just not check it? just confused. It's just me being perhaps me being stupid. Maybe perhaps I'm on another planet some days, but that's what I would do. The reason that it concerns me is because I've only had 3 back out of 28. I'm not a mathematician. You can work that out for yourselves how many we've had. I know some of you are doing it, so please don't take it as a grumble, because it's not, because some of you have said I'm halfway through or I've got 2 sections left and those kind of things. So thank you, I'd appreciate that. But I do need them as soon as possible. You look at the schedule now, we've got the last 2 weeks of a schedule, and then we have a week's grace. The week's grace isn't a fun week. The week's at the end of it is going to be where I do your practical. So I will be sending something out shortly, and then it leaves me with approximately about 3 days to do stuff. Now, I'm not a miracle worker. I can work quick and I can work accurately, but if you times it by 20 plus, it's a lot to do. So I do need to make sure we're going to get there with it. You do need to do those documents for me. Okay, I've had some back, and one was really good. That was spot on. That was one of the first ones I had, and the person that did it had put a ridiculous amount of thought into it and got it spot on. There was about 2 things I had to change, and there was just punctuation and grammar, and I wasn't looking for that anyway. It's just how I read it. So that one was spot on. I had another one after that. Some of it was good and some of it was a bit like that, so I had to make some alterations, which I don't mind doing for you. It's just I can't do it on a big whole scale, if that makes sense. And the third one I'm working on, I'm just working my way through it, and to be fair, the lads put a massive amount of effort into it. Okay, and I have emailed that person and told them that, because they deserve a pat on the back for putting that much work into it. So, but the concern is, obviously, I don't have it from everybody, so I could do with them as soon as possible. Please do not leave it till the last week, because I cannot turn it round on the last week. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you, I can't. I'm not superhuman, and I really don't fancy staying up all night, working all day, working all night to try and get them done. I'll do as much as I can, but obviously, I need a rest like everybody else, and I do need to switch off now and again. And if I don't, I end up getting burnt out, and I'll end up making no end of mistakes, and that will not help you and not help me. And I'm sure BPEC won't be too impressed with it either. So we've got to be reasonable and we've got to be logical. There is just me doing it. I had to spend a lot of time prior to help my colleague get stuff done. He got a very tight deadline on the 9th of July. I got experience in doing this, he hadn't, so I had to step in and help him. So I kind of, to be fair, lost a week there. But there you go, that's just one of the things, isn't it? You live and learn from that. So yeah, time is of the essence. So what you need to do is make sure you get that professional document done for me. Fill it out as best as you can. Please do not copy and paste and put silly answers into other boxes, because it looks like it's finished. It doesn't matter whether your answer is 2 lines or it's 10 lines. As long as it's accurate and it's correct, that's fine. But I do need the full sentences. I don't want bullet points. It's of no use to me at all. So please make sure you can do it and get it done. Some of you have told me reasons why it's taken longer, and that's fine. You're communicating, and that's all I can ask for. And like I say, be honest. If you've ignored it and thought I couldn't be arsed with it, I'd rather you say I couldn't be arsed with it. I'd prefer to hear that rather than I've done a bit but I've lost it and all this kind of stuff. So that's fine. And if you haven't got it, the worry is I sent that out about 3 weeks ago. That took me a long time to write that stuff. It took me the best part of a day and a half, and you might not say, oh, that's not long, is it? Well, it is when you work late o'clock at night, it's long, isn't it? And you started at 8:30 in the morning. That is quite a long day. So if you're saying you haven't got it, you got to let me know you haven't got it. Okay. The question is, why haven't you asked me before? That's what I'll be asking you. Okay. So if it's in your inbox, it might be in your junk mail or somewhere. Have a look. I have sent it to everybody because I've got a list on my computer of everybody's email addresses, so I know that it goes through, because I take my time and I'm very, very careful when I send any emails out. I have to send them in individually because of GDPR, but I do take my time to make sure everyone's got the same bit of information. Okay, so I do need those as soon as possible. So really, they've got to be in next week, guys. Okay, I can't wait any longer for any of that. If I left it to the following week, we wouldn't get there, to be fair. Okay. So that's what I need from you. In terms of results though, like I said, for the 50s I've explained now, I've explained the PD, and the only other thing I was really going to say to you was, well done on everybody in terms of exams so far. It's been very, very impressive to see the scores and the effort that people have put in. We've had a good set of results. Sanitation, isn't it? It's difficult, isn't it? To be fair, that was a big unit. it was a big ask to push through as much as we got through in that time period. We were using your notes, and I explained to you why about the books, etc. So some of the scores for that was really good, must admit, impressive. So well done. You deserve a pat on the back for that, because that's not an easy one to do. Science is going to be the challenge at the end, isn't it? But we knew that anyway. But we've got a little bit more time for science on the schedule, haven't we? So I've allowed for it. So it doesn't have to be so fast paced, but we do have to move fairly quickly. And when you do sit and think about it, and I had this conversation with somebody yesterday, and I won't name who he is. We were just asking questions really about, well, can we get done for July, etc. And I said, well, we'll be aiming for it, and obviously that's what we'll all try and do. The reality might be slightly different, and I will know a lot more next week, depending on how many professional discussions I've got and how many much more exam results I've got. Because I can only work it out depending on exam results, if that makes sense. So if everybody passes, you're on track. If not everybody passes or gets lower than 50, you're going to have to do some rescheduling, which comes with what we have to do. And as we were sort of talking through some of the things that we have to do and how we're going to go about it, there's got to be the realisation is really for people that if you're going to leave it till last minute, it's not going to happen. Our extension from BPEC for the way we're doing it at the minute is up to the 30th of September. You and I don't want it to be in September, but I would probably say the likelihood of some of it happening in September would be 50%, high. So what we need to be able to do is make sure we push it through and get it done. In September, what will happen. I will end up with 2 new groups, no doubt, more than likely, and that's what I'll be having to work with and trying to finish you guys off. That will be a nightmare. I've been in that situation before, 4 or 5 years ago. Your situation is easier for me to deal with. I had MVQs and people with gas folders and all sorts of stuff, and what happened was they were putting people with me from other staff that had left and all sorts, and I had such a mishmash. I think I had something like 59 students at one point. Not healthy for anybody, to be fair. But again, did it, but it took a tremendous amount of effort. So what I need you to do is just get to the realisation that you just need to get this done now, and then we can get it put to bed as soon as possible. Okay, and we can push on and get it done. But like I say, if you don't, and the other worry is if you send me a message probably now next week from seeing this and saying, I haven't got my PD document, well, why the bloody hell didn't you tell me 4 weeks ago? And that's the first thing I'm going to say to you. Okay, so if you haven't got it, yeah, just tell me you haven't got it. I'm not going to have a moan, but it annoys me, if I'm honest, when people say I haven't got it and they've waited 4 weeks to tell me they haven't got it, and you think, God, really? I get frustrated, and there is points where I do get a bit grumpy, so you can see why. So obviously make sure you've got it, get it done, and get it sent back, and that would be great. Okay, so I do need it next week. If we go past next week and I've not had certain ones, then yeah, I'm going to have to contact people's parents and so on and so forth. I just will not have a choice. I don't like doing it, I don't want to do it because I treat you all as adults, but if I have to go down that route, sometimes I'll have no choice to do it. Okay, and again, if you'd like to say you're unsure of anything, feel free to ask. You can always ask me. I've spoken to a couple of people today this afternoon on the phone because I wanted just to double check something, and I don't mind you asking me the same question 10 times. I really don't. As long as you put in the effort in, it's not a problem. It's when people ask me questions, just think we covered that 5 weeks ago, and this has been going on for ages. So we do need to finish it, and I'm sure you want to get it done. But there we go. So just to end it all, though, to be fair, superb work for everybody. Thank you for the effort that you're putting in. I hope that you're finding the Zoom lessons are working for you. Any feedback you can give me would be good, and the reason is because I think I'm going to have to be doing something very similar, at least till Christmas, let's say next year. It would be good to get back in a classroom and just do something. It is tight getting into college. Someone said, it's a bit tight for me getting in college and stuff. Yeah, no, I can appreciate that. I've only got so much time in the day. The reason I don't start at 9 o'clock in the morning is because all you would hear is my lad charging up and down non-stop and banging and crashing. You wouldn't hear anything, and I'm being honest with you because that's the reasons why. I'm not laying in bed, that's for sure. I'm up and I'm doing stuff ready, but I have to get set up at least 10-15 minutes before and make sure everything's working prior to you joining that meeting. So things do take a bit of time. But I hope they're working well for you. Like I say, any feedback you can give me, any improvements we can change. Someone mentioned a green screen to me. Well, I've had a look at that. My iPad's that old; it probably wouldn't do a green screen. So I'll have a look. There are probably other things we can do. But at the minute we just need to sort of plough on. But if you've got any suggestions that we can make it a bit easier, then by all means, you guys are probably more up to this kind of technology than I am, to be fair. So if there's anything you can think of, let me know. But like I say, keep up the good work, keep working hard, keep looking at your schedule just to make sure you know exactly what's happening. I've had a few people that are thinking they've got exams when they haven't, and I can appreciate the schedule, because it's got initials on, can look confusing. It's you know why, it's GDPR, I can't put full names. But if you want to check it, like I say, please check it, and we can make sure we're good to go, and just keep pushing, keep doing the revision. Like I say, do it before as well, before you have the Zoom teaching as well. That would be good. Yeah, I'm teaching you suck eggs there, because I'm pretty sure most of you do it, and let's just keep pushing forward. But like I say, the key thing is, please, the PD document. I need the PD document soon as. Okay, so I need a PDQ. How's that? That's exactly what I need to get from you. Okay, because I've got a lot of work to do, and it's more of administration work, but I need to push on with it. Okay, so hope you all have a wonderful weekend. If you're watching on the Monday morning, I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Okay, but like I say, it's the PD document that I used. Okay, and I look forward to seeing you all on Zoom again next week, and we go again. Okay, have a great one, guys. See you later.